4 more people have died from COVID-19, which means Jamaica has now recorded a total of 214 deaths as of yesterday, with 39 new positive COVID-19 cases, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 9,296. Consistent rains over the last 24 hours have left roads in St. Thomas impassable, while others in neighboring parishes of St. Mary and Portland have been reduced to single-lane traffic due to flooding and landslides. Westmoreland Police seeks the public help to find 2 suspects believed to have been involved in the killing of 2 persons and the injuring of another. And multi-million-dollar drug bust in Portland early this morning by members of the Divisional Operational Support Team in the parish. Good evening. The Ministry of Health and Wellness has reported that 4 more people have died from COVID-19, which means Jamaica has now recorded a total number of 214 deaths. The deceased are an 87-year-old female from Westmoreland and 3 other females from Trelawney, one of them aged 73 years, the other aged 71 years, and the third aged 84 years. 2 of the deaths were previously under investigation. Meanwhile, 39 new positive cases of the disease have also been confirmed, with Jamaica now recording a total of 9,296 confirmed cases of COVID-19. Of the new cases, 12 are from St. James, 11 are from Kingston and St. Andrew, 5 each from Trelawney and Westmoreland, 2 each from Hanover and St. Anne, and 1 each from Manchester and St. Catherine. The ministry said all of the new cases are under investigation. An additional 29 people were yesterday deemed free of the coronavirus, bringing the number of recoveries to 4,666. Some 85 persons are in hospital, with 17 being moderately ill and 6 critically ill. That's among the 4,297 confirmed active cases of COVID-19 in Jamaica. Members of the public are being implored to provide the correct information about the condition of a patient when they call the Jamaica Fire Brigade, JFB, to access emergency medical services, EMS. Officer in charge of the Fire Prevention Division and Public Relations Officer at the JFB, Emilia Ebanks, said that there have been instances where instead of telling the EMS that an individual is displaying coronavirus COVID-19 symptoms, callers label the emergency as an obstetrics case or other type of medical emergency. Ebanks noted that as part of measures implemented to protect members of the JFB and the public, all emergency cases are now treated as a potential COVID-19 case. Ebanks commended the work of the emergency medical technicians, noting that they have been among the first responders in the country's fight against the COVID-19. The public can call local fire stations for assistance or the emergency numbers 110 and 112. The JFB ambulance service operates out of fire stations in Negril, Savannah-Lamar, Hanover, St. James, Linstead, and Portmore. The National Works Agency, NWA, is reporting that consistent rains over the last 24 hours have left roads in St. Thomas impassable, while others in neighboring parishes of St. Mary and Portland have been reduced to single-lane traffic due to flooding and landslides. The NWA announced that in St. Thomas, the corridors from Morant Bay to Port Morant, Pleasant Hill to Hector's River, Bath to Hordley, and Hordley to Haining are now impassable due to flooding. The Folly Main Road in Portland is also flooded in sections, while a landslide is now impacting the road from Gale to Labyrinth in St. Mary. This landslide is located close to an area referred to as Hill 60. Manager for Communication and Customer Services at the National Works Agency, NWA, Stephen Shaw, says work crews have been mobilized to deal with those issues that can be addressed, even as the rains continue. These include the reopening of critical drains and the removal of landslides. Mr. Shaw says where flooding is concerned, some of the affected areas are low-lying and lend themselves to being impassable whenever nearby rivers are in spate. He is reminding persons not to attempt to use flooded roads as they run the risk of suffering personal and property damage. The police are seeking the public's assistance to find 19-year-old Carlando MacDonald of Matilda's Drive, Spanish Town, St. Catherine, who has been missing since October 20. He's of dark complexion, medium build, and is about 6 feet tall. Reports from the Spanish Town police are that at about 6 a.m., MacDonald was last seen at home wearing a blue shirt, blue jeans, and a pair of black slippers. All efforts to contact him have proven futile. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of Carlando MacDonald is being asked to contact the Spanish Town Police at 876-984-2305, Police 119 emergency number, or the nearest police station. The Westmoreland Police are once again calling on the public, especially residents of the parish and its environs, to assist them with an ongoing investigation into a case of double murder and wounding with intent. The call comes as detectives who are probing the incident of September 30 this year, which identified two suspects in the case, Andre Hines, otherwise called Bunny, and Brandon Ewan, otherwise called Sean, and are appealing to the public for their help to locate the men. The photographs are believed to be recent pictures of the men. Anyone who may be able to assist detectives are being asked to make urgent contact with them by calling 876-955-2758, Crime Stop at 311, or the Police 119 emergency number. Additionally, the men are urged to turn themselves in at the Savlamar police station by midday Wednesday, November 4. The incident at the center of the investigation reportedly unfolded about 6:55 p.m. It is believed that the suspects entered a shop on Hudson Street in Savlamar in the parish and opened gunfire, hitting 3 persons. 2 of those shot and injured were later pronounced dead at the hospital. They were identified as 22 years old Roger Reed and 24-year-old Anothika Wedderburn of the same community. Persons who wish to examine the photographs can do so on the JCF's website, jcf.gov.jm. They will also be posted on the JCF social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. In other news, detectives assigned to the St. Andrew North Police Criminal Investigations Branch, CIB, are seeking the public's assistance in identifying the body of a male that was found in Grove District, Gordontown, St. Andrew on Tuesday, September 22. Reports from the Constant Spring Police are that at about 1:45 p.m., residents stumbled upon the body in bushes and summoned the police. On their arrival, the decomposing body was seen clad in a gray shirt, blue jeans, shorts, and a pair of blue slippers. The scene was processed and the body removed to the morgue pending post-mortem. Anyone with information that can assist the police with their investigations is being asked to contact the Constant Spring CIB at 876-924-1421, Police 119 emergency number, or the nearest police station. One man was arrested by members of the Portland Divisional Operational Support Team during a major drug bust on St. George Street, Buff Bay in Portland earlier today. The St. Elizabeth resident is facing charges for the offenses of possession of ganja, dealing in ganja, transporting ganja, and taking steps to export ganja. Reports are that at about 7:30 a.m., lawmen were on patrol in the area when they were alerted to a motor vehicle accident involving a Nissan Ad wagon and a Toyota Probox motor car. Both vehicles were inspected and it was observed that the Nissan Ad-Wagon motor car contained several parcels wrapped in plastic bags. The parcels were examined and found to contain ganja weighing approximately 1,300 pounds. The illicit drug has an estimated street value of Jamaican $5.2 million. The driver of the Nissan Ad motor car was subsequently detained, while the driver of the other motor vehicle was released after being interviewed. The Electoral Office of Jamaica, EOJ, is expressing confidence that it should be able to declare the winner of the People's National Party (PNP) presidential election before 5 p.m. on Saturday after the party's delegates vote. Mark Golding and Lisa Hanna have been nominated to contest the election to be the sixth president of the PNP, and as it has done in the past, the party has contracted the EOJ to conduct the election. Just over 3,300 PNP delegates will vote to determine the person to replace Dr. Peter Phillips as the president of the party in a contest which will see new voting protocols because of COVID-19. Director of Elections Glasspool Brown said voting will close at 3 p.m. and the EOJ expects to provide the PNP Secretariat with the results by 4 p.m. And in his bid to be the next president of the People's National Party (PNP), Mark Golding has received another heavyweight endorsement, this time from Officer Emeritus of the PNP, A.J. Nicholson. Nicholson, in a statement in throwing his support behind Golding, described him as a visionary, saying, quote, "From all accounts, Mark Golding is blessed with attributes which serve to strongly recommend him to assume the responsibilities for the presidency of the People's National Party and beyond," end quote. Mr. Nicholson further added that, quote, "It is unchallenged that by any assessment, Mr. Golding is not a polarizing figure," end quote. Golding is being challenged by Southeast St. Anne MP Lisa Hanna for the presidency of the 82-year-old party, which will be decided on Saturday during a special delegates conference. He described Golding as someone who listens, stating that, quote, "This is a gem of a trait that sadly is found in far too few persons in leadership. It speaks to inclusiveness, for people prefer to be heard, to be conversed with rather than spoken to," end quote. The long U.S. election campaign comes to an end tonight as millions of Americans headed to their local polling locations and either to re-elect Donald Trump or choose Joe Biden as the next president of the United States. The first polls closed on the East Coast at 7 p.m. local time, and this is followed by a running total of votes as they are reported in each state. Now, based on several polls, however, in this election, it's found that a million more Americans have been voting by post because of COVID-19, meaning a delay in counting all the votes, which is seemingly likely. And to win the White House, 270 electoral votes are needed for Donald Trump or of the Republican Party to retain the presidency, or Joe Biden of the Democrats to win. The U.S. appears on course for its highest turnout in a century, and the first projections are expected in the coming hours from states which are solidly Democratic or Republican. Both rivals spent the final hours of the race rallying in key swing states. And appearing in his home state of Delaware, Mr. Joe Biden said he was hopeful and highlighted the overwhelming turnout, particularly of young people and women. Speaking in Virginia, Mr. Trump said he expected, quote, "a great night," and he thinks he has a really solid chance of winning. And we will bring you more on this story in subsequent newscasts. And those were the stories making news. I'll return with the recap. We will now take a break and then join Christopher Scott with sports.